Start both.
So we know that we're gonna start off talking about how this is we're new to this,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk about how we're trying things out, we're open to ideas, and then we'll start going into our conversation about us.
All right. I'm gonna start them both.
Let's go. That's good.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Jackson.
Daniel
It's my friend Daniel Torres. Yeah, and we are starting our podcast tonight. This is the pilot episode. Something I've been thinking about for quite a long time. And I guess this podcast is pretty much just about, there's really no script to it. It's all raw, unfiltered, just completely opinions, and people that are open to opinions and everything like that. It's more of like an open discussion that we would love to have the people that follow this podcast and the people that are friends and family of us and everything like that to become a part of like the community and everything. I know that we have like further thoughts about what this podcast could be. And so basically to start, I just want to say we'll dive into politics, sports, everyday life, because we're two relatable people. We come from two different walks of life, but at the end of the day, we're all human. And so we experience things just like you all do. And we just want to be somebody that maybe you can relate to, some people that you can hear, about our stories, and hopefully that can help you and
100%.
things of that nature, So to start,
you want to talk about how we met?
Yeah, we can talk about how we met. So I played Xbox, and on Xbox Live, I was playing a game, NBA 2K16, I believe, around May or so like that. And so there's a game mode in there where you can play with like a couple of your friends, and like you can just go up against other teams, and they have all their friends, 5 different people and stuff like that. You can play with people across the world. And so one day I was playing with my friends, and I played against a team. The team's name was Hawaii Living. And there was a kid on there named Daniel, and he was all right. He was pretty good, I guess. And so he actually ended up beating us and everything. And we ended up adding all of them because they were pretty cool. My friend that was on my team lived in Hawaii. He was there on the Navy base. And then he met some.
Pearl Harbor, right?
Pearl Harbor. And Daniel was living on the Army base, I believe Schofield. So, instant connection and stuff like that. And so we just played pretty much a video game that whole time. And now, 3-4 years later, here we are finally meeting. It took a little, me moving to a whole nother state and everything, and him moving from Hawaii and coming to Texas, and us meeting together. And so 3-4 years later, here we are.
It's crazy too when you think about it. Like whenever, like the whole Xbox community, you never even think about meeting people that you're talking to.
Right.
Like it's just weird. Like I don't know how else to put it. If you're not, I don't know how to explain it. Like, just usually it's people that you might not even connect with. You have to literally meet them and find out everything about them within a game.
Right.
And the game literally can be a shooting game, it can be a basketball game, it can be anything. And you have to literally open up to somebody you have no idea who they are. And that's why I find it really, I'm really happy that it worked out the way it did. Because we talk about it all the time through our Xbox party chats. We beefed on 2K, and at the end of the day, it didn't affect our friendship to where something like this couldn't happen.
Right. And I mean, what a millennial way to meet people.
Right.
What a millennial way. Yeah, we played a basketball simulation video game, whereas 20 years ago, you actually had to play basketball and go meet them where you played basketball. So, I don't know. I guess, Xbox Live is kind of weird because you don't really know who you're meeting. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
like you're pretty much just basing it off of like audio and stuff like that. And you have to
listening to a voice.
Right, yeah. I'm listening to a voice, and you have to think, damn, this guy spends this much time on a video game. Damn, he's probably pretty damn weird.
Facts.
I mean,
Like, literally facts.
and you would see like, and when you play Xbox a lot, it does like drain your social skills. Like it really like
100%.
out in public. Like it, me and Daniel both have stories like it does kind of make you detach from reality because your reality, what you're seeing the world through is a simulation video game on your TV. Like, and that becomes your real life because when you meet friends and you talk with them every day, like, yeah, that becomes your social circle, and they're thousands of miles away. So it's really not reality. Like it's a really different from like back when you played PS2 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You couldn't talk to other people that were playing the
The only
game.
people you're talking to is the person that you have next to you that you can have a human interaction
Exactly,
with.
that you already met. So like, I don't know, it's weird, but I guess, you know, there are stories where people meet best friends and all that stuff, and going to have real friendships with people on Xbox just through a video game, you know, and in real life they click just like they do on the game.
And I want y'all to know, like, this is legit our first time ever seeing each other. We met up literally an hour and a half ago. And there'll be times on here, like, where it could be awkward. Like, we're literally feeling each other out. Like, we are legit going through this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I had talked to Brandon about it. And I was telling him it was just his first time doing this, like, meeting up with people on Xbox. And I was explaining to him that this is actually, like, my third or fourth time, and we all know the same people through the game, 2K, the basketball game. And now I went to California, met up with a friend, went up to New York, met up people playing, or in Dallas while I was playing college soccer. And I wanted to understand where he was coming from because I guess it's like a veteran at it, I guess. Like, you know how it feels to go through this already, so you should explain how you feel.
It's really, I don't know, like seeing a person, I don't know. I think because I see you on so much social media,
True.
like, and I see you like you're every day on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram,
Like you know
Facebook. Yeah, I already know it.
Yeah.
So like, there's nothing else that I need to know about you. Like I've already learned about your life. It's just seeing the rest of you.
Like, literally, my whole 5'7" friend. No, but even on top of that, like, you're literally going and seeing someone else's life. Like, you're seeing where they live.
Right.
And I was just joking with him about when he see my house. I live on like a historic base, and these houses were built in the 1890s. Like, who would have thought the person you're meeting lives in this old ass house?
Right.
A bunch of just little things that like you just have to get used to and just like find out about a person. And even if that's a small thing, it's just still something you have to take in. So I don't know, I find that interesting.
Yeah, so I was tabling this for when we started the podcast, the drive here. So so I live in Katy, Texas, and that's about half an hour away from downtown Houston. And so that's about 2.5 hours away from San Antonio. So I'd say that's 165 miles, so like that. So I'm driving, once I hit about the 80 mile per hour or 80 miles mark, I'm just driving through, and now I'm kind of like lingering on the right lane because I'm starting to see like buildings and stuff like that. I don't know where my turnoff is going to be. Like, Apple Maps is kind of like sketchy sometimes, giving you the wrong direction. So I just try to stay near the turnoff lane at all times once I get, especially at night. In Texas, I don't know the streets like that. Everybody's flying. So I'm
80, 85.
Yeah, 85. It's like 65.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, 60, 65, 70, something like that. And so I'm driving behind like this truck, like this big 54 foot trailer. So I'm driving behind it. I can't really see anything in front of me. It's so damn dark on the sides. I can't see anything. There's no lights or anything. So all of a sudden I start seeing like this red paint all over the ground, kind of splattered and everything. I'm like, huh, where'd all this red paint come from on the ground? That's weird. Did the paint truck fall?
The paint truck.
And then so all of a sudden I see like this, so there's some big ass dead animal in front of me. And I'm right behind this trailer. So I run over this fucking big ass dead carcass, like deer or whatever the hell
I
this
thought you were
thing.
about to say some shit like on Get Out when that deer.
Yeah. It was like
a trap.
it was like that had that deer in that movie had been like completely mutilated. like luckily I didn't drive over the legs. I just drove over the body and the head.
Fucked up everything up.
Right. It was already splattered all over the road. I'm like, yo, what the fuck did I just drive over? And so I like look at my rearview mirror and I just see like this dead animal.
Did you stop to go check on it?
No, that shit been dead. It had been splat because I had seen the paint or like the blood. I saw the blood on the road. So that means that truck, whatever hit it, had dragged it quite a bit after where
you're supposed to kill it in the fucking woods, not
yeah.
highway.
He collected it on the highway, so like the bones sticking out, the legs are off on the side of the road. I felt all bad and shit. I'm like, damn, I really hit a dead animal.
Bro, that is crazy.
Man, well, at least it wasn't me.
Facts.
That thing would have fucked up my Kia. I was all worried about my tires too. I was like, dang, I've got brand new tires. I hope that shit didn't have like some hooves on it or whatever the fuck. Puncture my shit.
So I do have a question though.
What's up?
What is your first impressions of San Antonio? And just to like clear up so people know, I took him out to this place. It's called Mi Tierra. It's like I think it's like number one in San Antonio for Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted him to try it out. So I know, we still about to go see the River Walk, all the main attractions tomorrow. But what is your first impressions of seeing like certain things that you've seen so far, even if it's the hood ass places we drove by?
San Antonio is old as shit. This place is old. Like it's just like all the so like literally all the buildings like look like they were made in the 1890s. Like this one was like, it's weird. Like it's a weird old kind of vibe.
You know what you're talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Is that the deer on the highway? Is this his friend?
Oh, get that.
Nah,
it was that thing that you got on the wall. That fucking he's got a big ass deer head on his wall. No, I know. There it was. But anyway, San Antonio, yeah, it's old. It kind of looks like some shit out of like fucking the Alamo. Like, oh, the Alamo is here.
It's kind of here, but
the Alamo is here. Well, it was like if you took the Alamo and took that and then just built like a highway through it. That's pretty much what this place is like. And then add like a whole bunch of cholos and shit. I would say like the people, so the overall like what I think about people in Texas as compared to where I'm from in Reno, Nevada, is like I feel like they're more in a hurry to get places like
here or over there.
Here.
More in a hurry?
Because, people in Reno, people in Nevada, like, I feel like there's enough Californians there. Yeah. Hi, Mom. There's enough Californians there to kind of, like, make the community lax or whatever. It's more relaxed. Whereas here, I feel like you have people from the South. Mostly. And like there's people from all around the world that live here, like in San Antonio and Houston and stuff. So I feel like they're just way more in a hurry to get places. Like I don't know, like people be flying. People be honking at people.
Maybe it's because I'm used to it now. Because obviously you just came from basically what you explained to me earlier. It's like California where you live.
Right.
In essence. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see it like that. But like I said, maybe it's because I'm used to like 80 miles per hour, people moving, like they just moving to get to where they need to be.
Right. But I don't know. Like it's been quite a change. If you guys didn't know, I moved here last week on March 1st. That's when I left.
Do you want to I know this is your Facebook Live, but do you want to like give backgrounds of ourselves, like where we're from, our family and stuff? Like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
So I was born in Auburn, California, and that's like a small, like town outside of Sacramento, kind of like for people that don't know where Auburn, California is, it's kind of outside of Sacramento. It's really not shit there besides like meth and trees. So I was born there.
Meth and trees.
there's meth and trees. So I was born there, and then like the main place there is Grass Valley, and so that's where my mom is from. And so we had moved from there to Arizona in like a little place called Florence, Arizona. And then from Florence, we moved here when I was like 5 or 6, I forget. We moved to Reno, Nevada when I was like 5 or 6. And then
were you too young to like see the difference?
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell. I did, well, it was hotter in Arizona. I knew that. In Arizona, it could reach like 110, 115.
Facts.
But it was like it's like a dry heat. Like it's not humid like it is here. Like I feel constantly wet in Texas. Like it's weird. But I don't know. Like moving to Reno, like growing up there, it was okay. I feel like it's definitely like it's a city, a really small city. Everybody knows each other.
You know the population for Reno? I was trying to ask you that earlier.
Population's like 200,000. Over 200,000. A little over.
You know it's small compared to like other cities and shit.
Yeah, like Houston's got a population of like something million, 2 million, something like that. And so, yeah, I can definitely see the difference now. Just living in Houston for a week, seeing how big Houston is compared to Reno. Like Reno, I think is 110 square miles or something like that, and then Houston is like 660. So it's just huge, like the difference. And definitely moving from a smaller place like that, where that's your entire world, and then moving to a place now trying to have this new world, but it's even bigger than what you could have ever thought. Like it's hard to like wrap my mind around what I'm in now, but I'm actually happy that I'm in it, like trying. I know that I'm by myself. My parents are back in Reno, and I'm just by myself here, but I'm doing all right. I'm trying, I'm living, I'm exploring places and everything.
Yeah. I mean, we always have these discussions on Xbox, and now we're like basically bringing it over to the podcast because we feel that we should voice these things because people can end up never doing that, like leaving where they're from to literally transition someone that you've never been in Houston, right?
No, I've never been.
Like,
never been to Texas.
Who literally just packs up their shit and said, "All right, I'm moving to fucking Houston."
Yeah.
And what's it called? I guess I can give like a background on myself, and so we can kind of correlate how it's pretty similar. So basically, I was born in Santa Monica, California, and I lived there for the first 3 years of my life. And my dad's in the military. He's currently E9 in the Army out here in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. And I've been moving literally my whole life. And we went from Cali to Killeen, Texas. We lived there from 99 to 2005. And then after 05, in 04, my dad had deployed. And he came back, and like 2 weeks later, we found out we're moving to North Pole, Alaska. And like, who would want, like, you hear North Pole, Alaska, like, what? So the main town is Fairbanks. And so we lived out there in Alaska for a little bit. And then after Alaska, we moved to El Paso. And that's why I was laughing. Brandon had been telling me, what did you say about?
Oh, when I drove through El Paso,
on the way down here, right?
Yeah, on the way to Houston, you could seriously see Juarez right across like the freeway, like it was right there, and you could see it kind of looked like the favelas, like in Brazil, but they put it in the desert. Like it was just like it was crazy shit to just see it right there, like, and it's scary as shit there too.
And we had talked about it in the past. When I was living there in 2008, that's whenever Juarez, the town of Metro, was at like one of its peaks, or at its peak of murder rate. Like,
Right.
and just living there, I just remember being in 6th grade. Like this dude, he's like 16 in 8th grade.
Right.
Like that's the people you messing with. Got tattoos and stuff. Like, I mean, I'm already small as it is, but imagine me. Like I'm like 4'11", walking around a bunch of them dudes. But anyway, so after El Paso, I moved to Tennessee. I lived out in Clarksville, Tennessee for 3 years, and then he's heard me talk about Hawaii endlessly. But I lived in Hawaii from 2012 to 2014, and that's my second home basically. And when you're a military kid, you don't really have a home. So the places that you live, that you feel the most connected to, end up being your like temporary home, and you adapt. Like you literally will call it home. So yeah, I moved to Hawaii. After that, I moved to Louisiana for my senior year. Killeen, Texas after. Now I'm here in San Antonio. So, I don't know if I even told you all those places I lived in the past.
So growing up in Hawaii, like, did you ever get that feeling that you were like isolated, like you were just on an island? Like, did you ever feel like, damn, like I'm really on a rock in the middle of the ocean?
You know, that's like literally like the most, like that's what it is. You're on a rock in the middle of the ocean,
Right.
Thousands and thousands of miles away. And I mean, me in particular, like moving around, I'm not one of those people that I never lived on military bases until very recent with my dad in his current position. So like, I never like put myself in the mindset of, oh, this place sucks, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like that. So I never had that process before. I always enjoy no matter where I live. And Hawaii, man, I'm telling you, one day if like we could legit go out there, that'd be fucking dope as hell. Do a podcast out there.
Shit, I bet.
That shit would be dope. But me, no, I don't feel like that. But
shit, ain't the milk really expensive? Isn't like everything expensive?
No, like
I heard the milk is like crazy.
Bro, $6 for that shit.
That'll make you start drinking ocean water.
Chill.
You wonder why everybody's fucked up.
Right.
But shit, man. What's the damn surfing scene out there? Like, you ever check that shit out?
Yeah, so for the surfing scene, the north, like I lived in on Oahu, and what's it called? The North Shore is literally known for surfing.
Yeah.
And all the top, if you listen to like Joe Rogan podcast or stuff like that, they have surfers that come onto his podcast, and they talk about the North Shore. That's Brazilians, Australians, everyone around the world. Like they come, and it was only a 10-minute drive for me. So I definitely went up there a couple times. I don't know much about it, but like I definitely checked it out a little bit. Yeah.
Some damn Johnny Tsunami shit.
Fact. Bro, when you hear that siren go off, bro, you be thinking different. Like,
oh shit. I bet. Fuck. But shit. So we gonna talk about your Lakers, bro.
He does this to he literally when we on Xbox, this man does this to me every time.
We're gonna talk about your Lakers, man. What? So
I don't want to talk about it.
What's wrong with LeBron, bro? What's wrong?
All right, so who's your team growing up?
I'm a Phoenix Suns fan.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So like I said, I was born in LA. My dad's from LA. I always go back to LA in the summers and Christmas time. I'm a big time Laker fan. I'm not a Kobe fan. I'm a Laker fan. And this is why he always like asked me about it. But because I used to really did not like LeBron for a while. Like I really didn't care about him. But man, this situation is crazy, bro. Like there's so much factors that are going into why this team fell from the 4th seed all the way down to the 11th seed.
Yeah, bro. You gotta listen to LeVar. You got a whole He got to steal.
That's crazy. That man sounds, bro.
It's Lonzo Ball, man. That's the key, bro. He's out. He's out, man. Look, the problem with
Lonzo is the man.
The Lakers, bro. Like, I don't know, and I love LeBron, but I feel like LeBron has his hand in like too much shit. Like he's doing too much. Like he's not really worried all about basketball. Like, and I get it. Like he made a decision based off of business and everything, but like he's just not. And when you're a member of the Lakers, I feel like you got to be all in on basketball, and he's just not.
And that's the thing, bro. I don't want to believe that he's not being like that, because you know me, like I'm the most optimistic person you'll meet.
Yeah.
And like, I 100% don't want to believe this dude's not really 100% tied into basketball. But to get into it, really, the Lakers, it's so many things. Like you can't be that person that just says it's on LeBron, it's on whoever. There's a bunch of things that went wrong, and we can start from the beginning, bro. To start off, the Lakers, they constructed their team to be a run and gun team. Right. Fast break. Magic Johnson's back in office. He wanted to bring Showtime back.
Right.
Multiple playmakers on the court, and it was working out for them. Like that ideology was not bad. Like they were the 4th seed and they beat the Warriors convincingly.
Right. They beat their ass on Christmas.
And LeBron got hurt in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and so like all of a sudden there was this panic because the Warriors, because the Lakers didn't hold up, they ended the bargain and win some games. Because I think they went 6-12 with LeBron out. See, you can't completely blame LeBron. I still blame LeBron because I feel like even after he's hurt, I see him averaging still 27 points a game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. First off, to go off what I was saying though, the Lakers, they were like an inside team, and their players that they acquired, the JaVale McGee's, the KCP's, Lance Stevenson, Rondo, like Rondo in his own respect, like we all know playoff Rondo, but they've been so inconsistent, bro. And the thing about it, like to go on what I was saying about them being an inside team, running gun, fast break, after they got injured, and it wasn't only LeBron that got injured. You got to remember, before even LeBron got hurt, I know they were winning, but it still messes things up a little bit too. Dudes got suspended.
Right. Yeah.
This man Rondo. And then LeBron gets hurt. Then Lonzo's playing great. They were up by like 30 on the Rockets in the third, or like 20 on the Rockets in the 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter. He goes down all the way down to overtime. They lose a game, and ever since then, like, it's just weird. There's so much stuff that went wrong. But whenever you're losing and you're not in the 4 seed anymore, you need your 3-point shots to knock down. Like, you need to be able to shoot.
Right.
And when they're playing from behind, how you gonna come back?
You shooters. You can't come from behind just getting twos. And so like that's the problem, because when you see with every team that won with LeBron, you had shooters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just playing 2K the other day with my cousin, and he wanted to use the classic Miami Heat or whatever. And when you look at on the bench, what they had Mike Miller, Ray Allen, and Shane Battier. Like, those are all knockdown 3-point shooters off the bench. Like, and that's what LeBron needs.
So you think if they're gonna win? Being like, I know you watch the Lakers, but you know how I watch it differently. I watch it play-by-play type shit.
Yeah.
Like, from your perspective, do you think that, like, if they didn't get hurt, that they would have been a threat despite them not having shooters like they did, how they was playing? I mean, like, we hear the popular the sports shows and stuff talk about how they were going to be so good this year, and they didn't have the shooters. Like, you have to think about it. Their team literally, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, what's his name, Kuzma, they all shot like 38%, 39%, 40% from the 3. This year they're shooting 30, 32, 33, and they were still winning. So how do you feel about that?
I think that the Lakers, the way that they were going was they beat all the teams that they were supposed to. Rather than what you see now, they don't beat the Hawks, they don't beat the Cavs,
Suns,
they lost to the Suns. and like,
who's the point guard of the Suns?
Who's the point guard of the Suns? Anyway.
Exactly. You're a Suns fan, bro. We don't even know.
I don't know. I think Devin Booker runs point, or he just does
Right.
whatever he wants to now. But like they beat all the teams they were supposed to. Now, does that translate to playoff success? I don't think so. I think that they would lose to everybody in the East, and I think that they would lose to OKC now, and they would lose to Houston, and they would lose to the Warriors. I think that they give better matchups in the West than they do in the East for some reason. I think that they would do better in the Western playoffs than they would against somebody in the East if they were to play them in the finals. So, because they don't match up with the Bucks, they don't match up with Toronto. They got their ass whooped by Philadelphia both times. So yeah.
Do you think this year was a waste for the Lakers? Like when it comes to like knowing that, like a waste. When you say it's a waste, like you have to. It's like a harsh word to put out there. Is it a waste? But then like you have to premise it by saying, what could they have done with teams not wanting to trade to them?
Had there not been a problem with the Anthony Davis thing, and it would have just been that LeBron got hurt and they weren't winning games.
Was Kawhi Leonard this year too, or was that last year?
Last year.
Okay, never mind.
Last year. Yeah, San Antonio traded him last year for DeRozan. Yeah.
Right.
I think that had the Anthony Davis trade stuff not happened, this would have been like, oh, well, there were kinks in the road and everything. It was just that you had LeBron's camp, Rich Paul, and the Pelicans and all the drama, everything being forced, like the Pelicans or whatever were being forced out of having Anthony Davis. I think that created so much of a problem and like so much backlash in the media that now the narrative is now they're a bunch of losers, and so people are feeling some type of way because they were going to get traded.
And the thing is too is that do these players see these tweets? Do you think they really don't see them?
They do. They see everything.
Exactly.
I think professional athletes have rabbit ears. I think they hear everything.
But they dead ass probably like go and search their names up on Twitter.
Hell yeah!
Even when they know they shouldn't, they still go and do it just to like be interested.
Like you saw when Antonio Brown with the Steelers went to his locker room and did a Facebook Live. You know that every time they go to the locker room, they have access to their phones. Their phones are not locked up anywhere. They can go right in their locker and grab their phone.
I did not know that.
They can go right in their locker and grab their phone. So they can do that shit at halftime. You can look at halftime and see what people are saying about your game. Like, you know, like imagine playing a game and then you see on the news or something at halftime, you find out that you're going to be traded or you're in trade talks that night. Like, that would fuck you up. But I still think that they were being soft about it. Like, their reaction is soft. The fact that it's lasted this long.
They're in their second and third years. Like,
yeah.
After last year's trade rumors that maybe they'd be able to. But at the same time, maybe they're human. And, like, they have that natural instinct of being soft in that way because that's a lot, bro. Technology is taking off on a whole nother pace. And, like, this is the technology, like, this is all happening now for us in our lives.
Right.
So, you know, like, even if I don't want to believe it, like, you know it affected them.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think, like, to go back on that soft thing, man, I think that, look, those same players were going to be in trade talks for Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and now Anthony Davis. They were all going to be the ones that were traded. They were going to trade Kyle Kuzma. They were going to trade Brandon Ingram for Kawhi Leonard or for Paul George.
So playing sports the way you did, like high school and all that stuff, if you're in that position, like say you're in this athlete's position to where they have to be traded, do you go about it like, obviously, like the strong-minded person will be like, I'm nice, so they're trading me for a reason. Or is it like, oh, wow, I'm getting traded for real? Like, where do you see yourself in that?
It depends on. I can't definitively say because I played at a low level in high school. So, like, I can't really say how I would see about that because, you know, it's just different. It'd be like, you know, maybe a college athlete could tell you that. Like, if they bench you and you had to go transfer and shit like that, maybe a college athlete could tell you that. But what I would think the mindset would be is it's all about narrative. And I think the Lakers' narrative of them just saying you can have anybody you want besides LeBron is a fucked up narrative.
That is fucked up.
Like, that's just, like, that's not, you know, people want to feel worth. and everything like that. And the fact that they were like, ingratiated with LeBron James, and LeBron acted like, oh, we're all here together and we're all a team and you guys are my guys and we're going to get another star in the offseason. This year is just getting us to the playoffs, getting you experience. They thought they were a part of the ride. Now they feel like they're just meat getting sent away. You know what I'm saying?
How much more do you want to try when your best player is literally, I read a stat today that he's in the 295th percentile of defense out of 297.
Yeah, and you're supposed to set the example. Yeah.
And that's where the debate of how I was explaining to you in the past or a couple of days ago about the whole Kobe and LeBron thing. Like, not how they are as a player. Like, you can debate all day who's better, whatever. But, like, mentality-wise, when you have a guy like Kobe, the dude is a asshole. Like, everybody knows, like, this dude comes, don't fuck around with him. Like, come in there, give your best, try your hardest, and let's win ball games. But it's not saying that LeBron doesn't do that, but it's just, like, the way that people, I guess, perceive Kobe, it gave him, like, another respect to where, like, you knew he was trying every night. He was going to lock up somebody. The dude had over 10 all-team defense.
Right.
Like, you know he was trying in defense. Like, that's where you see someone's, like, you see somebody's insides. Like, how much do they really care?
Because it's all about effort.
Exactly. And that's the only thing, like, it's weird for me watching Kobe. Like, I started watching Lakers, like, a lot in 2010. And it's weird. I really question LeBron's way of being as a person. But, I don't know. It's going to be a hard transition for me to, like, get used to him. But I really, really hope, because, I mean, you can't even sit back and say Magic Johnson and Pelinka didn't mess up.
Right.
Like, what happened has happened, and it's now affecting them because they can't shoot, they can't do certain things. They have guys that are not trying as hard because of certain things. So, hopefully they get somebody, man. You heard me on the mic, bro. I'll be turning the TV off because I'd be so mad, bro.
I go and see the game. Sometimes I'll open the ESPN app and I'll see, the Lakers are down by 20. Well, I'm not gonna watch that one.
You know it's bad when you see they down by 8 and Alex Caruso is leading them back into the game with Jonathan Williams, all G League.
Who the hell are these guys? Who the hell? Who brought the C team out?
Hey, man, speaking of C teams, you don't call me out on the Lakers. We're going to not sit here and talk about the Raiders, bro. We're not going to sit here and not talk about the Raiders.
What, man? They went 12-4. They went 12-4 3 years ago, all right? They went to the playoffs. And lost.
I'm a Cowboy fan. Like, every year, it's just like a Raider and a Cowboy fan. We're disappointed some way or another.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. But see, my disappointment is more so like expected now. So I don't get my hopes high. I know there's a lot of Raiders fans that are like, this is our year and everything. Like, this is the year we take it. But I know there's a lot of Cowboys fans that do that as well. I'm pretty sure when the Cowboys heard that they got Jason Witten back, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to Super Bowl now.
I was so hyped.
We'll have to give it to whoever the hell their tight end is now. Nobody knows. Yeah, exactly.
I forgot the man's name. I know the third string Blake Jarwin, but fuck. I can't remember the second string.
Yeah. I can't believe that Jason Witten is going to help Dak Prescott's accuracy throwing the football.
Right. That man's like, that shit, I don't understand that, bro. Like, I mean, hopefully he becomes better at it, but it's crazy that, like, people literally defend him in a way to where he throws it outside the numbers. So it's crazy. But how do you feel about on Twitter, you see that they said Antonio Brown will come to the Bills, but then now they're refuting that, saying that's not right. And they're saying that the Raiders are actually like front runners to get the guy because of all their assets. And how do you feel about that?
I think that.
Did you say you don't get your hopes up?
I think that the Raiders probably have a shot to get him. If they get him, that's good. Because I think that he's got the personality and he works hard enough, and I think John Gruden likes him. And apparently it's all about who John Gruden likes.
Yeah, I've heard the guys that I listen to, like, they say that, like, John Gruden, if he wants the team a certain way, he will strip the whole fucking team and, like, this is how it is.
Man, that's fine. I mean, if New England gets to do that, then why can't he? I mean, obviously New England works. New England is still winning Super Bowls. And if John Gruden wants to do that, then I'm fine with it. Just go a direction where I think that the Raiders can win. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all Raiders fans want to do is have a team that they can look at and people see them on TV and not think that they're just a doormat. Like the Raiders fans, Raiders community is tired of that. Of always thinking that the Raiders are a bunch of losers. Like I'm tired of looking at games, watching games, and seeing other teams play way better than how we play. Like I feel like the Raiders are always like it's always like not put together right. Like and you see it trickles on down with the shitty stadium they have and like
who plays on a baseball
who
field
plays
in
on a fucking base?
2019?
Who the fuck? Like I'm not trying to be if I'm a running back on another team, like that's a trip. That's a trip to get tackled on second base. Like, what the fuck?
Are we still in first?
Like, yo, what the fuck is that? Like, what the like? You don't even have to do that shit in high school. They separate the fields. Like, so I don't get it. You know,
And that's how I be feeling.
it's
Like
just a joke sometimes.
I don't watch the Raiders much. Like I mentioned to you that my dad likes the Raiders, but I remember you always send memes to me and stuff like, or just how typical Cowboy fans are, and I literally feel the same way about the fucking the way that people literally know what plays we're running because we're not creative enough. Like how the fuck are other people calling out all your plays?
Yeah.
And you're a run team, so that means you're gonna run in the A gap to B gap. Like they already know where you're gonna run, and I'll never understand it. But I mean, me personally, I have a lot of faith in Jason Garrett. I like I like whenever that longevity, like to where you build a team from within. And I mean, the guy has went to the playoffs a couple of times, but at the same time, when you haven't been to the Super Bowl in 20 plus years, something needs to happen. Hopefully, maybe it's the players, maybe it's the coach, maybe it's the owner. Who knows? But
Jerry Jones.
who knows?
No, I think Jerry Jones is right. I think Jerry Jones is straight. Jerry Jones is a gangster. You see that yacht? Jerry Jones got a yacht that's the size of 2 football fields.
Oh, nah. 2
football fields. It's the size of 2 football fields. Imagine that shit on the water. That's too much money.
Are we on a cruise or are we on a yacht?
You know that's too much money. Like there's a level of money, and I feel like if you have a yacht that's not just 1 football field long, it's 2 of them motherfuckers. Meaning I can have 2 Cowboys games on my yacht on the water.
So did you hear? I know you've been traveling and stuff. Did you hear about David Irvin?
David, what we?
Yeah,
we Cowboys player. That's about right. It's about right. Him, Randy Gregory.
But how do you feel about that though? Whenever it comes to like the NFL and them saying yes or no to weed and like testing for it.
I think that you should just not do it because the NFL shouldn't. Well, one thing the NFL shouldn't test for anyway. I mean, there's so much trauma and so much injury coming from playing in the NFL that like weed just seems like the healthier option in terms of rehabilitation, getting better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like weed just seems like a more logical option. And I don't think that they should test for it. But since they do, if you're jeopardizing your ability to make money by trying to smoke weed, then you probably should just stay away from it until you get your contract. Like you got it. Like it's about, at the end of the day, you play in the NFL because you thought that was an escape from how you had lived before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's economic opportunity. It's why you play in the NFL, because your talents far exceeded your peers. And so now you're at the upper echelon of football athletes and stuff like that in the world. And so now you have an opportunity to actually cash in on that. And if you're jeopardizing your ability to make money by smoking weed, I just think that's dumb. Like, I feel like you should do whatever you can to secure the bag first. You know what I'm saying? And then after that.
That's what amazes me, because, I mean, $4 million, that probably would make us happy for 10, 20 years.
Yes.
But the thing that's crazy is that David Irvin, like I was seeing some stats earlier, that he has more sacks per game or like per minute or whatever the stat was. He's on par with Aaron Donald. and Chandler Jones.
Like that's crazy.
Like he was like 0.2 away from being on their echelon, and he's only 24, 25 years old,
right.
and his career total earnings is $4 million. To us, that's a lot. Like I said, to us, it's a lot. But like when you're a professional athlete and like you have that big payday, especially if you're a talented player
Coming up.
exactly.
It was about to happen.
Exactly.
It was because Jerry Jones cashes out.
Exactly.
If Jerry Jones thinks that you can play, he'll pay. And so I just like to do that to your career and like to screw yourself right there and risk yourself millions of dollars. Like I just think that's dumb. Like I don't know. Like especially in the NFL when your money's not guaranteed like it is in the NBA or the MLB. Like your money's not guaranteed.
It's true.
So you really have to be on your P's and Q's because the NFL is a lot like, to me, like very much so like the military. You know what I'm saying? It's very buttoned up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you have to be in line and be like obedient and stuff like that and just be organized. You know what I'm saying? Like the NFL, that's how the NFL appears to me. And so if you are willing to fall into those categories and be fine and toe the line with the NFL and do all that shit, you'll get your money. You just have to. It's such a violent sport that you have to follow the rules in order to get your money and everything because you're risking all this injury and all this shit. They're not, if you're a liability off of the field, I'm not going to pay you because on the field, I could lose you in one hit and lose your whole career and lose millions of my money. You know what I'm saying? Paying you out. So you just have to be smarter in those situations and weigh your options. Is weed really more important than this? Right?
That's why I want to look into, like, I'm not sure, maybe you know, but like people say the NBA, they don't get tested for weed or something like that. And I wonder how that, because you hear people talking about like, oh, what if someone's high on the field or like that, or that's just anybody's first response. Like, would you want to watch somebody that's high?
Right.
But especially in a violent sport, like these guys are all having problems with the CTE, right?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a progressive one. But concussions anyway.
Yeah, concussions. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I just wonder how it works with these other sports. And like I said, the NBA, they talk about how these guys, like, you see those funny memes with like Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith, like they're either really goofy or they're not loud, like they're doing something.
I think J.R. Smith is high.
Right.
I think J.R. Smith is high and off the handy most of the time. Exactly. We saw that when he hoed LeBron.
Facts.
So like I don't know, man, but I think that it's sad because there are a lot of beneficial things from marijuana. I'm not qualified to say them all and say exactly what it does, but I think that marijuana is something that should be legalized across all the states. I don't think that they should test for it in the NFL. Maybe they can test for it at your job, like because maybe it could hinder job performance. But I've also seen people be able to function when they smoke, only be able to function when they smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
Like, and that's an actual thing. Like
I guess that's like the problem though. That I could see. I don't, like I said, I'm still kind of like ignorant to a lot of this stuff, but I could see that being a conversation about who is able to smoke and function. Mm-hmm. And one of those people that smoke and get crazy. Like if I take one hit right now, I'm gone, bro. Like I have no tolerance, and I know I can't drive. Some people can smoke a whole blunt, 2 blunts, and drive fine. So I guess like I don't know. I think that's definitely a viewpoint of like why or why not it should be passed. But I do agree, like overall though, living in Alaska, you're allowed to have 3 personal plants for personal use. Okay. And there's no repercussion. Like as long as you're not selling it to other people, then you're fine. So I mean, I've lived in places where it worked out and there was no problems, but this is definitely an interesting like ongoing debate. Yeah. They're finally like what they will end up doing.
Yeah. Why will they legalize that shit? Because weed I've seen weed help people that have injuries,
cancer,
mental health issues, cancer. That too. Weed seems to be pretty beneficial. You know what I'm saying? For medicinal purposes, weed is probably the healthiest way to go. You know what I'm saying? Like it at the end of the day, it is a plant.
So I would say plants over a chemical-based pill.
Right. It's that, or do I want to smoke some weed, or do I want to take this Vicodin? I can get addicted to Vicodin. I have seen people addicted to marijuana. That's a thing. You can't lie about it. There are people that are addicted to marijuana.
Oh no, I don't get addicted. Like, bro, come on. If
That's the thing.
if you getting those headaches, you doing antsy things just to get your hands on weed, you're an addict. Come on, bro.
I mean, but at the end of the day, like the prescription pills needs to stop. Like that shit is the
100%.
worst shit. That's what's really fucking people up. Like that's what's ODing people, killing people. I don't know if that's what killed Mac Miller or not, was prescription shit. But it's killed a lot of people like that we know, and a lot of celebrities. It's killed a lot of people. Prescription drug use.
If you want to get into that, that's a thing that I'm huge on. I'm more of like a believer of if you have like say if you're depressed or whatever it is, like people will say go talk to a therapist, psychologist, whatever. What is it? Therapist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear people say that, but honestly, I'm more of a firm believer of like if you have that close person, if you have someone that you feel like you can trust, I think it's more important to talk to a good friend. And maybe your therapist can become a good friend. There's nothing wrong with it, but like me in particular, I think my first thing to go do initially would be go talk to someone that you like really trust and someone that's a really good friend. And to tie it in with those pills, when you're on these pills, like I don't think there's a problem being on the pills, but you shouldn't be prescribed 30 prescription pills.
Well, right away.
Exactly.
That shouldn't be your doctor's first instinct is to give you pills.
Like you should have maybe 5 or 10. Like somewhere like a low number to where you can like see what it's going to do to you. And I guess my point is like pills is okay, but you need to know when it's time to get off the pills. Because when you start becoming addicted to where you can't function without them or like you need them to be able to do something, I think that's a problem. Like I guess I've never been in those situations where maybe like you need a chemical, like someone has a chemical imbalance and need chemicals to fix it. I don't know. But my first instinct is more of like, let's do it naturally. Let's try not to put a chemical-based pill into your body.
Well, see, like if your body isn't producing like the correct amount of the chemical, you do need that temporarily. It should only be a temporary prescription. Like that should only be temporary, and then eventually you have to figure out ways to actually fix it. Because I feel like we come from like we live in a society that we just want to mask shit and not deal with things head on.
Exactly, bro. That's exactly how I feel about it.
That's what prescription pills and like painkillers and shit like that, antidepressants, depressants, that's what it allows us to do is mask all the shit and not feel the actual shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a disconnect from reality. You know what I'm saying? Using these pills. And that's not healthy either because you're not getting the actual like rehabilitation, the real help that these people need.
And maybe this example is not the best example, but I think I can correlate a little bit. So like me, I went through a depressed time, like in my life. It was like 2017 to sometime last year or something like that. It was like a good year because I moved 3 times in 2 years, and like I'm a very extroverted person, and I'm always like the life of the party, whatever. I always used to be like that, and then when that happened, I isolated myself in my room for a while, and I only played Xbox. Coincidentally, I was talking to him all the time. I was talking to other people, and I could have easily went to a doctor, went to somebody, and I could have tried to mask those problems with a pill.
Right.
And I guess like that's where what I was saying a little bit like a couple minutes ago was, and what you were saying, to go at it head on naturally and do it yourself to where you're not relying on something to like get you out of that. Because I probably was at the lowest level of depression, and I don't flex like I was at some high thing. I don't know anything about it, and I never even thought depression was a thing. I was one of those people that didn't even believe in that shit.
Right.
And Yeah, so I just think it's important to we spoke about it a lot about this self-reflection thing, and to be able to like self-reflect and not right away give up and go to another extreme to use a pill or whatever it could be, like anything. And I think it's important to do it by getting human interaction, by doing different things, talking to someone that you really trust as a person.
Right.
So I feel about that.
And a lot of people don't have that person to talk to though.
That's
there's a lot of people you can't talk to.
Yeah, so that's a whole other animal.
I think, because I was going through that same shit, like that same depression, and I didn't feel like I had anybody to talk to, like, about it, because I didn't feel like anybody understood it, really, what exactly I was going through, like, because I was in that dark place mentally, and, like, I felt like there was no forward progress, and for some point in my head, like, it clicked that I needed to do something about it and like just find a muse, you know what I'm saying? So like I would get up 2 a.m. in the morning and go to the gym and just like do that. And I did that every day of the week. And I did that shit hard. Like I went at it hard and I felt like that was the only thing I could do. Like that kind of like expression, like the physical strain of waking myself up at 2 a.m. and all that shit, that allowed me to notice that I'm in that dark place and just to notice it and see it. And it allowed me to work myself out of it and work against it and fight myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly what that did. And that was my moment of self-reflection, was realizing that. So I'll never be in that same depression that I was in because I know how to fight myself. Exactly. It's all about fighting yourself. And so that was probably my biggest accomplishment, was being able to do that, fighting off my demons and shit.
And I want to add to that because he just explained what he did to not say like go on a pill or whatever it was when he felt like he didn't have anything. And that's what I forgot to say. Literally, his example, what he did is similar literally to what I did. Whenever I realized I was sitting in my room, like depressed about not being able to be with friends and like having that close person around me anymore, and only through a TV stream, through Xbox playing 2K, I literally told myself, am I going to sit here and just like literally killing myself mentally and fighting those demons every day without doing anything about it? And I finally decided, I'm like, I'm going to do things. This is the biggest thing that I think is important, is to find ways, addiction, going to the gym. And that's what I did. I did 3 things. I said, you know what? I'm going to the gym. Every day you walk in there, you're like, even before you even leave your house, you're like, damn, I really don't want to go today. Like, I don't want to go. You'll make an excuse. You're playing a video game. You'll go in 10 minutes, 30 minutes passes, whatever. You leave the gym, you feel great. Like, damn, I just did that shit. I'm feeling great. Exactly. And you're releasing those endorphins, which is like a natural thing out of your body. I think it's like is it a dopamine or something like that?
Yeah, it's in your brain.
Yeah, and you're releasing those endorphins, and that stuff makes you not worry about that negative vibe, that negative cloud that's just around you. You feel so much better about yourself. The second thing I did, I was very addicted to energy drinks. And when you beat addiction, that's just like going to the gym. You're like, damn, I can do that. And you beat a mental block in your mind that you need something, and you finally tell yourself enough. That was the other thing I did. And the third thing it might sound cheesy, it might not, but human interaction and sunlight put together. Like that stuff is huge. Just interacting, saying hi to your person, checking you in at the gym, or being a kind person to somebody walking by you, smiling at them, saying, hey, holding the door open. Those are things that I did to master with those things whenever I was feeling at my lowest. So,
human interaction, positive human interaction, that'll help.
And force feed positivity into your mind. Yeah. If all you're thinking is negative, it's always going to be negative. Like literally, your mind is so powerful. And I'm still in college. I'm still learning stuff about everything. But if you have the ability to think about it, your mind is so powerful, and whatever you put in your head each morning, you'll get yourself to do it. If you say I'm not going, you'll literally not go. If you're going to tell yourself you're going to procrastinate, you'll procrastinate. until you finally say, you know what, I'm getting up and growing.
Right.
So if you force feed that positive light into your head, positive energy, promise you it can help you out.
Wrap this one up.
Facts.
All right, first episode for a podcast that will be later. I have some ideas, but
give us feedback.
Yeah. If we could get feedback for the people that did watch, thank you very much. People on Facebook Live, the people on YouTube Live. I will drop the link on all my social media platforms for this podcast. Right now, I know that my camera quality on this right here is not that great, but I didn't really hook up like an actual camera. This was pretty much like the pilot. I wanted to work the kinks out type of episode and, just get the ball rolling. I'm in San Antonio for the weekend, meeting up everything, wanted to get it fresh, fresh reaction.
And we'll try to, he's here for 2 more days, probably 2-3 more days. And we'll try to at least get 1 more. At the most, maybe we'll get 2 more out. And hopefully that y'all feedback can help us out.
Yeah.
Because we really want to do this and we feel like we can really touch people from a lot of different communities and aspects of life. So,
yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. Signing out. Goodbye to the YouTube stream. Ending now.